Hello, everybody. This is Dana with DanaPittman.com. And also, if you look in the description box, Purpose Prevails Publishing. And I am coming back with an update. My plan was to do this last week, but it did not happen. And I'm explaining why, but it just didn't happen. However, I met my goals. This is going to be an update. This introduction is going to be brief because I'm just figuring this all out. And I'm noticing that when I get ready to do this, it makes me extremely nervous. Not the recording, but just this whole process. So today I will, number one, do the update from the goals from the last video. This is all about going pro with indie publishing. And if you're interested in hearing what I got to say, well, then stick around to after the introduction. If not, I will hopefully see you on another video. In this video, I will talk a little bit about what my plans were at the beginning of the year. I am also going to do like a little mini update of how I am keeping myself organized and accountable as I move forward with both executing the written aspect of everything and writing the books, as well as the logistical side of it, which is the publishing and all of that, like dates, scheduling, marketing, promo, all of that, because I am she who has to take care of it. So if you're interested in hearing about that, well, then stick around. I have no idea how long this video will be. You'll know based on the time of the video, but we're going to just get to it. So I will see you all shortly. If you're sticking around with me, let's go ahead, get it started, and I'll see you in a bit.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be
Hello, so this is Dana. I'm going to let y'all know to make myself feel a little bit more comfortable because it just feels so different, even though I've been on YouTube for a really long time. This is very informal because in the end, my heart's desire is that this is informative and maybe that this will help you get over some bumps that I had to experience as I've moved forward. So one of the goals that I had in the last video, I didn't do a good job of writing them down, which is normally not me, but because I had to make it up on the fly, it just happened. So one of the goals was that I would finish the first draft of a story that I'm working on, and that is complete. The first draft is probably about, for the first draft status that I would normally prefer, it's probably about 75% of what I would normally do, mainly because I've made some decisions about the story structure that I wanted to just kind of pull back. And when I go in for the next draft, I'm going to work that out. So it was really like finish where I was and stop. So now it's all done and it's shelved. And the other goal that I had was to finish a summary for an upcoming story. That summary it was complete, and I actually finished another one. And I will go a little bit into why I have a couple of them when it comes to the next portion of this video. And I think for these, I really will have to write down notes, but I accomplished that as well. The other part was trying to decide how I wanted to do these videos. And because I didn't necessarily get any questions, what I'm going to do is aim for something like the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and that will cover what my goals are, and then whether I meet those goals for that month will be the follow-up will be in the next month. So basically twice a month unless I have a specific question, and that will be in between. So the more questions that I receive, or if there's a topic that is asked about that's not in the scope of what I maybe want to do in the update accountability style videos, well then I will do those in between. So that means it could potentially be more than twice a month. And I think that's reasonable for me because I do record a few times on my crafting channel and I have work to do. So twice a month, the beginning of the month, the middle of the month. And so this video is, even though it's not the beginning of August, I'm counting this as the beginning of the month because I'm going to be traveling. And so once I get back, that's really when everything will kind of kick off. So next, so in the beginning, story time. At the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, I sat down and decided what I wanted to do for this coming year. I had some very ambitious goals, and those ambitious goals were probably overly ambitious according to what I know now, as far as how often I wanted to publish, how many words I wanted to write per week, and also just even though I was experienced in the publishing side, I'm going to separate it. The creative versus the production. That's why I'm going to separate it for a second. Um, I am experienced in both aspects of it. However, not at the level of production that I would like to produce books. So, in the past, when I created my first few stories, there was, when I did my first book, I thought about it for years. And then I wrote the first draft in a month. And then I edited over about a few months or so. So there was just more time. And then when I did my second novel, I worked on that story wise and internally in my head for probably 2 or 3 years, or maybe even longer. And then the writing aspect of it took me about 2 months. And then the editing aspect of it took me probably about another month or so. And so the more you do it, it's like a muscle that you get better at it, or at least that's what I'm noticing for myself. And so mixing the creative and the production for this year has been something that I had to be very intentional about and pay attention to what I'm doing so that I can determine whether it's working for me or not. And so with that said, when I decided to do this video series, I was kind of at that halfway point. And at that halfway point, I was nowhere near where I wanted to be. Nowhere near it. It was, on one hand, it was extremely disappointing. But on the other hand, I know why. And the reason why is because this beast called publishing there's so many moving parts that you got to understand where you are, where you're going, and how you intend to connect those 2 points. And I think because it was very ambitious and I just knew I wanted to do it and I did plan, I don't how I was going to do it was not solid at all. It was solid in my mind when I wrote it on paper. But as time progressed, I was like, I have no idea what's going on right now. The blessing is that I had enough experience that I could intelligently bump my way through it intellectually, because I understand the process enough that I could make it work. But let's say now, for example, totally different ball game. And it doesn't make it any easier, but I know exactly what I'm doing, right? Exactly what I'm doing. And even when I don't know what I'm doing, I know what I'm looking for so that when I spot it, I recognize it. And so, and as an example, when I published the second novel, I really was under a crunch because I was working on an anthology and the novel at the same time, which both of those happened at the beginning of this year. That was already the wrong scenario, but it just was what it was. But when I was working on that, I had some things as far as marketing and promotions lined up, but it wasn't to the degree of when I released my last novella just earlier this month. they were just apples and oranges. It's actually apples and carrots, like totally different ball games. And I felt much more comfortable in how I executed the launch of my most recent release, and I had great results. Even though, of course, you are, well, I'm not saying, of course, you would always want more because you may not want more. I would have liked to have more sales, but I'm like 300% higher or whatever than I did on the first one of this year. And I attributed that to the process, the production side of it. So with all of that said, I kind of feel like I'm saying something, but I'm not because it's jumbling around in my head. So right now, what's happening is I had to take a step back and re-establish my calendar. And that kind of brings me back to some of the videos that have been on this channel. The first one that I showed, which were my planners. And I'm showing this now because this is how I function. Like I cannot function without these because I am wearing several hats on a day-to-day basis. And these make it so that when I wear that hat, that's the only hat that I'm wearing. So when I'm writing, I'm writing. I'm not worried about marketing. I'm not worried about promotional things that are coming up. I'm not worried about creating a media kit. I'm not worried about newsletter swaps that are going out. Like none of those things are in my head. If anything, I'm just thinking about that book. If there's a series, that series, and in reality, I don't even think about anything after that because of my preparation process, my creative process. So, like, this is my day to day planner, which is my Erin Condren planner, which I showed on here early, end of last year, early part of this year, and I use it like crazy. Like even today, like I'm working on I'm testing a, I don't have a name for it. I'm testing something on my social media and my blog for the month of August. And so, like right here, I'm writing out everything that I should have in my arsenal already created, like all of the graphics that I need created, all of the quotes that I need created, what links I need, so that when I put on that promotion hat, everything's already created. And that's kind of been my saving grace is that I'm organized. And because I'm organized, when I get ready to go into these things, part of it is testing and part of it is just already knowing what I need to do. But my knowing what I need to do assists me in the testing phases, if that makes any sense. So I will write out everything that I need. I'll have it organized on my computer, and then some of the stuff is pre-scheduled, some of it's not. And so, like for example, on any given week, it looks like this. Certain colors are for marketing. Certain colors are for creative. Other colors are either client work because I still do some contract things to help me keep income coming in as I build my royalties on the book side, and also because I was in the consulting and service side before, and I just love doing it. I just can't do it as much now because the creative part takes so much time. And um, so this helps keep me like just grounded. The other part of my planning process, which I also showed, was this. And this is a more of a business style calendar. And this, okay, it is better than what I anticipated. And every single month, I've had to shift a little bit how I use it because I had to figure out how I was going to use this and how I was going to use that. So the this planner I use for day to day things in general, life and business. Okay. And this one, and I can't remember what they call it on the site. Um, this is all business and it's primarily focused on promotions, ideas, deadlines, monthly goals. Like in here, I know if you ask me, what book are you going to be working on in November? What book are you going to be writing? I would be able to tell you. What book would you be editing in December? I would be able to tell you. And what I had to do was extend grace to myself, because there are times where I have to erase it and I have to put something different because it's shifted and it's changed. And at first, I was kind of bummed about it. And now I just understand that until I find a lane that fits, I'm going to give myself permission to make adjustments and changes as I go along until I figure out what works for me. Okay. So here's another example. I have for like I have a newsletter. Here's an example. Like I have a newsletter. Inside of my newsletter, I will do swaps with other authors where I will feature someone's book or share someone's book in my newsletter. I can go in this in my pretty much as my business and marketing planner, and I know immediately um, how many spaces I have already assigned or I've already swapped out with someone, because I have 3 spaces. I can tell you on which dates that I have 2 spaces filled, I have 1 space filled, I have no spaces filled, or I have no spaces available. I can tell you just by going into my planner. I can also tell you what are my promotional things that are going on, what dates they're going on, what books they are featuring, and what blog posts are scheduled, what blog posts are already written, which ones need to be created. And then on this side, I've started. In the beginning, I used to use this column for expenses, and that just got too much writing. So what I do now is I actually use it to track my some metrics just on paper. And there are places that I have online that I actually write them down, but right now that's not that important to me because I'm still just trying to figure it out. So if I need to go back and say where was I at 2 months ago, I can on most things. Um, but a lot of it, I'm just still at the newbie stage where it's really not that big of a deal to me, honestly. But from here on out, it will be, because now I feel like my base is solid. And so, yeah. Another thing that I find is different in this book, you don't have a lot of writing space, but there are these sections here. And I feel like on one hand, I could have separated them by week, like one's week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, week 5. And I think that would have been great if I was just doing a blog or something like that. But what I've chosen to do is separate these sections by category. So one is my books, and there I list what I'm writing, I list the book title, and then on the side I put what status. Is it in outline status? Is it in writing status? Is it in edit status, or is it in production status? And that, for example, that whole row or section is dedicated to just that. And then, like, for example, the other section is to marketing, and I have another section that's to promotions. And lastly, I have a section for blogging, and then the other one I have a section for my newsletter, and that's kind of how it is: newsletter, books, marketing, promotion, blog. And then I use this side, which is the lined side here, for notes. Right now, for example, for August, I have all of those things that I need to have created and prepared for the promotion, this testing that I'm doing for the entire month. And and I hope that made sense. So essentially, my paper calendars keep me afloat. My paper calendars and Google Docs, those 2 things together are the gears to this whole machine. The icing on the cake are my Freedom Journal and my Mastery Journal, which I have not taken full advantage of again because I just was kind of shipwrecked. Like, I didn't have I had a goal, but I couldn't focus on that goal because I had no idea what was going on. It was too many moving parts. And so this coming month in August, I will be um, implementing the Freedom Journal and the Mastery Journal back into my goal setting for August to see how that goes. And that's another reason for these videos. I had to pause and write down the goals so that this video wouldn't be super long. In the future, I plan to make these videos about 15 or 20 minutes, but this one is because it's overview, kind of like the last one. Yeah. And I have two categories for the goals. One is for the month of August, and the other category is the overarching goals that I would like to have accomplished by the end of the year. And most of them, I believe, were just no, they've been there the whole time, and so they're just kind of things that I would like to capture. So for the month of August, right now I'm working on a draft of a book that I would like to have finished because I started another one. And then I have a holiday book that I would like to get started. So essentially, I will finish the one that I'm working on now, and by the end of the month, have the other story started. And by that time, probably about the halfway point, both of those are first drafts. The other thing that I will be working on is I'm testing this kind of promotional slash marketing thing for the month of August. And it's fairly detailed. And once I get through the month, the entire month, like I'll do an update in the middle of the month. But by the time we get into September, I can share more details because I really don't have a lot other than an outline and some internal goals. But I want to just complete that sequence that I have outlined and see whether I think it's something that I will implement into further marketing efforts. And lastly, I want to for the month of August, I want to make it a goal to work on writing 2,000 words Monday through Friday. Right now, what I do is I write on certain days, and basically I kind of like do chunks of time, a few days a week, and I really want to get to being consistent Monday through Friday, 2,000 words a day. And I believe that if I do that enough, I will actually exceed that 2,000 a day because there are days where I can sit and I can write 10 or 15,000 words a day. Well, yeah, I've done that. I think like I can do without a whole, well, no, with effort, with a good outline, 7 to 8,000 words in a writing session day, I can do. But I think that if I were to do it consistently day to day, I would make more progress faster. At least that's what I believe. So, anyway, Monday through Friday, 2,000 words a day, and this will be starting Monday. um, so that's the last. So those two drafts in working progress, completing the marketing sequence that I have planned, and writing 2,000 words Monday through Friday for the month of August. Um, I do also plan that in the update video, the topic that I will be sharing is my writing stages. And I wanted to share that because I realized like I just finished the first draft of one book, and then by the time the end of August comes, I would have had two first drafts, and actually those should be my last first drafts for a while. So I wanted to talk about my writing stages in the video around the 15th of August. For my overarching goals, one is that I would like to have at least 50 book reviews on all of my books. And I mean, I would love to have this accomplished by the end of the year. I don't know if that will happen, but that's my goal. So there are certain things that I'm putting in place, and I'm actually kind of going to start targeting certain books first, and then I'm going to branch out. And that's something that I've realized over the past probably 2 months. So that's one of the overarching goals that I really want 50 book reviews per book. And that's something that I'll be working hard at doing. Another thing is that I would like to find at least two accountability and not accountability, critique partners to work with. In my last local RWA meeting, Romance Writers of America meeting, I did meet two women that they were interested in us working together as critique partners, but we won't be able to meet again until later in August. So I'm hoping that by August that at least have some people that I can work with because I just think it'll be a great writing outlet and it'll be
some more interaction with other people that are writing. The last thing, and so that is something that I think really will take place in August, but it will be great if by the end of the year, whoever those two people are in place. And I know that I have them and it works for us. And so I would like to have that. And the last thing is by the end of the year, I really, and this is another one of those stretch things, I really would like to have my newsletter subscribers around 30,000 people. Um, and right now I'm almost halfway there. So, but I'm noticing that the more time passes, it's creeping up slower than what it was in the beginning. So it'll be a hard goal to reach, but I think it'll be, I mean, I know it'll be great to reach. So that's another one of the overarching goals. And so that's the goals for August, as well as to carry me through the end of the year. And then, of course, I'll have September, October, November kind of goals, and in December, kind of be an overview of what I've done for the year, as well as by the time I reach November, December, I'll have my goals and calendars and for 2018. And so that is it for this video. I will be back unless there are questions around the middle of the month, around the 15th of August, and I will give you an update on my goals as well as talk about my writing stages. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave them below. You will find all of the links to my personal blog, the publishing website, and yeah. And I also hope to like share graphics and like my book covers and just fun stuff too. But this is like all business right here. So that is it. I'm out. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to coming back sooner than later. And have a great day. Goodbye.
Don't be Don't be Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know